Hey everyone, this is our new mixer. We got rid of the PreSonus because it wasn't completely digital. It couldn't save the fader settings, it couldn't save the gain settings. Those things have a huge impact on the mix, and whenever anybody would tweak them or kids would come over and um, change the faders, that would mess things up, and we couldn't store that. And the gains especially is kind of the main thing. This is the Behringer X32. It is a fully digital board, meaning that everything can be saved. It's got motorized faders, it's got digital gains instead of analog gains, and so everything gets saved. I have done as much configuring as I can do here at home without having actual instruments and things plugged in. It's going to take us a couple of weeks, I imagine, to dial the mix in well. But what I wanted to do in this video is kind of give you a basic rundown of it, how to use it, and I'll cover the basic features first. And I'll do another video where I'll cover all of the EQ and the gates and things like that. And then I'll do another video that will cover getting into some of the deeper layers. So this is a 32 channel board, even though you may be counting here and noticing that you only see 16 faders. And really, all of the inputs are over here on these 8 faders. These faders here really only control group mixes and buses and some things like that. So all 32 inputs are really controlled over here on this side. This board only has 16 physical inputs. It's got, actually, I take that back. It's got 16 XLRs. It's got, I think, 16 quarter-inch aux inputs, but it's got the capacity for 16 more XLR inputs. You have to get another box that you connect to this with an Ethernet cable. So if you're wondering how you control 32 inputs with 8 faders, you use these buttons here to select kind of which page, which set of inputs you're looking at. As you're seeing right now, we're looking at channels 1 through 8. When I push this button, and I'm going to pull back here, you'll see some of the faders move. Now we're looking at inputs 9 through 16, and now these are the physical XLR inputs on the back of the board. So that's how you toggle back and forth between channels 1 through 8 and 9 through 16. Because each of these faders controls more than one input or channel, it's kind of useless to have labels up here that tell you what it controls. And so one of the nice things about this board is it's got what's called a digital scribble strip up here. So I'm looking at 1 through 8. Channels 1, 2, and 3 are the vocals. 3 is typically Abby or Megan. 4 is the acoustic guitar. 5 and 6 are the 2 electrics. And I might relabel these to be like Gary and Nick. We've got bass, we've got cello, which we don't use very often. If I go over here to 9 through 16, you'll see that this will change. Now the drums. We've got the kick, and this is configured like an overhead mic, which is really the rest of the drums. I might relabel that. And then we've got PJ over here on channel 16. I've set the board up, however, so that we should have a very minimal amount of having to toggle through the different pages here, because if I go over here to aux 1 through 8, you'll see that aux 5 and 6 are the computer, but it's kind of a hassle to have to remember. You have to do that to get to the computer. So that brings us to this side. I've configured these 5 faders here to give you access to some other things. These are called DCAs. Think of DCAs like remote controls to other faders, and you can assign them to any fader or even group of faders you want. So DCA number 1 controls all of the vocals. If I turn this one down, it's as though I were grabbing these and doing that. Same thing if I mute those, it's as though I had muted these, even though you're not going to see a mute light over here. I've got the drums grouped together. Remember, we've got the kick and the rest of the drum, kick on its own channel, the rest of the drums on their own channel, just like on the PreSonus. But this one fader will control all the drums. We've got the band. This turns down all of the band, vocals and instruments. We've got PJ here. So, like I said, this is like a remote control for channel 16 over here. Remember, I have to go channel 9 through 16, and then PJ's on channel 16. But DCA number 4 is really like a remote control. Now if I move this, you won't see the other fader moving, but it does the same thing as far as the sound is concerned. And then 5 is a DCA channel that controls the computer. So, generally speaking, we've got access to everything we need without having to go into any other pages. The one exception might sometimes be just going to channels 9 through 16 if we need to change the balance between the kick and the rest of the drums. Let's say the kick is too loud, we need to do that. Then we go back to these channels. So that is the basics of how we'll be mixing with this board. Actually, I just thought of something else, and that's monitor mixes. I'll cover that in the next video.